The American space shuttle is tonight orbiting the Earth after a spectacular and successful launch. But there is a snag. Some of the vital heat-resistant tiles on the shuttle's surface have come off. Mission Control say the gaps they've seen so far aren't dangerous, but they don't yet know if there are other tiles missing.
Throughout the night, Columbia was lit with powerful floodlights as engineers filled its 154-foot-long external fuel tank with 500,000 gallons of liquid hydrogen and oxygen. At 2:25 a.m. local time, with the countdown going perfectly, launch controllers gave permission to wake the crew. So it was another pre-launch breakfast of steak and eggs for astronauts Young and Crippen. "Hello, Mom," Crippen said to the cameras as he faced his first trip into space. Flight Commander John Young, the veteran of 4 previous flights, was the first to test his helmet on the pressurized spacesuits the crew wear during launch and landing of the shuttle. The crew were relaxed and smiling as they left the suiting room for the 3.5-mile drive through the night to the launch pad. Then the trip to Columbia's flight deck and entry through the access arm on the left. If either of the astronauts were feeling any doubts, it wasn't showing. Bob Crippen gave a final wave as they entered the spaceship. The astronauts watched dawn come up over the Cape from atop Columbia, and just before blastoff, Launch Director George Page read them a message from President Reagan.
Through you today, we all feel as giants once again. Once again, we feel the surge of pride that comes from knowing we are the first and we are the best, and we are so because we are free. For all Americans, Nancy and I thank you and the thousands of others who have worked to make this day possible.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We've gone for main engine start. We have main engine start. America's first space shuttle. And the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Roger.
That call up says that Columbia, the altitude is too high for ejection seat use.
Columbia, your go for SRB step.
At 2 minutes, 12 seconds into the launch, just before it went out of sight of the cameras, the orbiter jettisoned its 2 solid rocket boosters. They parachuted into the Atlantic to be used again.
Roger on the step, Columbia.
Mark, 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Confirm solid rocket booster step.
In launch control, there were congratulations and handshakes all round as Columbia jettisoned its external fuel tank and went into orbit. The launch director came out in the Florida sunshine to hold an exuberant press conference.
Thrilled and we're proud today. There you go. Where are your flags? Hey, next time you all ought to buy flags and bring them. It's a proud day for America, too. Hey, I've been on a lot of first launches. I've been in this business for 20-plus years, and I never felt anything like today. And looking around that firing room, there are a lot of old guys, old veterans in there that I'm sure never felt anything like today. It was fantastic.
But there was trouble ahead. When Columbia opened up its cargo doors, the onboard cameras spotted gaps in the heat-resistant tiles. Some had been shaken off during the launch.
Hey, we want to show you our own pods here. We do have a few tile missing off of both of them. Off of the starboard pod, it's got basically what appears to be 3 tile and some smaller pieces. And off the port pod, looks like I see 1 full square and looks like a few little triangular shapes that are missing. And we're trying to put that on TV right now.
Roger, Crip. We can see that good.
Despite the missing tiles, though, Mission Control announced it was all systems go for Columbia's full mission, 36 orbits.
Give it a go to stay on orbit and Columbia, Houston, you guys did so good, we're going to let you stay up there for a couple of days. You're go for on orbit.
Norman Reese, ITN, at the Kennedy Space Center.
The 14 heat-resistant tiles that have fallen off the shuttle, similar to this one but somewhat thinner, have come from these pods which house the small orbital maneuvering engines each side of the tail. Their loss here won't jeopardize the shuttle, but if other tiles have been lost from the underside, the area that has to cope with the fiercest of the heat generated by re-entry to the Earth's atmosphere, then the shuttle could be in trouble. Mission scientists are preparing to photograph the orbiter from the ground through telescopes to see if they can spot any tiles missing. It'll take several orbits, and the shuttle will fly in different attitudes so that it can be studied from all angles. Well, David Scott, as a former astronaut, if you were up there now, would you be worried about these missing tiles?
Well, no, Jeffrey, I wouldn't be worried. I'd be aware of what's going on and concerned that we would have to find a solution. But there are 2 days to work on it, and I believe we can understand the problem within those 2 days. In my opinion, this is an interesting situation, and as the air flows across the model onto the pods, this vertical part of the tail creates what we call a shock wave. And it's possible that this shock wave has impinged or hit on the pods, and that, coupled with the pressure going through launch and the heat of launch, may have dislodged those few tiles, whereas on the bottom part, where it's smooth and there's no impingement, it may be sound and secure as they were when they launched.
Isn't that, though, something that would have been calculated in tests beforehand?
Yes, it would have been calculated, but it's very difficult to predict exactly aerodynamic effects because they're what we call non-linear. There are always a few surprises with new airplanes.
Well, now, if, just suppose, they were to find 1 or 2 tiles missing on the underside here, what could be done to minimize the effects both on the astronauts and on the equipment inside?
Well, one thing that can be done, they know where systems are dispersed underneath the side, different systems. Each system is redundant, and therefore if a tile were missing on one wing over here, they could re-enter using the system on the other side and therefore protect against the heating effect of the system that was then not used.
So they shouldn't be too worried?
No, they shouldn't be too worried. I think they'll work it out and we'll have a nice re-entry.
Thank you very much.